No.
No. Oh, did I lose the internet?
No, your internet still seems fine, or at least you're
I lost my
still
game. Interesting.
Yeah, game disconnected.
I don't know.
Yeah, Shimash was always fun to see on this Discord. They I don't know how, but some of the guys went like 24/7 on Discord to talk trash to people. It's really
professional trash talker.
Yeah.
Yes.
That would be a job for me.
Now, as far as the outcome of the tournament, I assume you all thought you guys were gonna win, or did you have did you have a favorite aside from your own team?
The measure of
No.
I had actually was rooting for Ace Crystal.
I was expecting Good Praxis and Nick to become #1 again.
Yeah, I was.
For Alpha doing a space rope.
Yeah. But yeah,
I was rooting for Alpha big time against Spice Rope, and I kind of felt really bad that they lost.
Yeah.
So was that was an upset match you guys didn't expect? Was Alpha against?
Yeah, we put our money on Alpha.
Yeah, and then last second, like they were already winning, we thought it was in the bug, and then they collided each other.
Oh yes, that's right. Because Abdominator started messing with the structure, and then the rest of Alpha's team just evaporated. They just
just out of nowhere they were all three gone. Like one was technically kind of disabled already because he was just spinning.
Yep.
But like the other two, I was like, where are they?
Where did they go? Yeah, we were all like that.
I asked him in the chit chat later to figure out what happened, and he said that they collided into each other.
Yeah, there was
really sad.
It did far away hit the structure at some point, didn't you?
Okay, well, you see, I'm just gonna deflect and just say my ship was built 4 hours before the tournament, so
that's
I have some slack.
I didn't.
The waffle.
I didn't.
Waffle, that little shitty two railgun ship that who was it?
Bell
was flying. Was built 1 hour before the tournament.
Yeah.
Yes, the coordination of our team was that bad.
Okay, Vega, but you see, this ship won the tournament.
Yeah, I didn't even realize you had crashed it until at one point they were flying around the structure, and your transponder was just like wedged in the beams. Like it was you didn't just bang off the structure. It was like in there. it was like in there. Like you got in a beam. It was pretty good. I didn't see the crash. I didn't know what happened. Maybe it just drifted there. But I just noticed at one point that there was a faraway transponder merged with the structure.
I was going for the gap. And then I missed very badly.
I don't. Proxymine asks if the stream is down. I don't. It should be back up. It was.
Yes, it is.
I never got to say what went well, but whatever.
Go ahead. What do you think happened? I mean,
what went well is definitely the ship. What didn't went well is the coordination. Because like I told Beatbrick, like, hey, there's a tournament. Do you want to join with me? It's like, yeah, sure. And he already started building ship, and I was like, dude, let me explain my plan first. And then I never got to it.
Yeah.
The idea was like the Sirius twice, and then a tiny scooter. So basically Ace's strategy, but backwards.
2 big ships and a little one.
Sideways.
Sideways, yes.
Sideways. Yeah, it was. I was impressed. Like I said, this was the first tournament that I have watched while it happened. So it was fun to see that. I'm not gonna lie, I was rooting for Good Praxis, mostly because he and I practice, on Mondays.
That's some good praxis.
I do get some good praxis, but I could never have been in there. I would have been an absolutely horrible contestant.
Look, you could have been the third guy to fly the scooter.
No. Yeah, that's all I'm good for is a scooter. So, is there anything else you guys want to say? Anything else that came up that you want to address, or?
I'm also pretty glad that we got this far, mostly through through, we lost the first round against Alpha, then in the lower bracket because we had 2 no-shows, right?
Yeah.
And one against Elemental. Zero didn't show up, so I did the math, and I think we're actually like 6th place almost.
That's pretty funny. Yeah, I was a little surprised that Code and Elemental didn't show on the first day.
Yeah,
But
that was really,
And
really
there were
sad.
the
We
teams
really
was
wanted to
fight.
have more battles.
But yeah,
We had-
also, like I said, yeah.
We had only 2 battles this tournament.
yeah, you guys got pretty lucky and
Or
walked
unlucky,
through.
'cause it's not fun to just sit on the bench. You want to fight.
Yep. I mean, you guys did a lot of practice. Oh, that's right. And you guys, Ace Crystal, you used that heads up, that holographic heads up display thingy.
It's coming soon.
It's
I'm
coming
working on it
soon.
as we speak.
Trademark.
Well, I mean,
Yes.
I copied it like the moment he showed me. It's like Can I tell the story, Ace?
Yeah, sure.
Yes,
Go
yes.
ahead.
So
Keep
how
the
it
story,
worked
yeah.
is like he showed paper off that the hot display, and I was like, "That's awesome! I need to have this." And it's like he said, "Oh well, I should ask like MWire," and it's like, MWire won't tell. So it was like, how do you break something like that to make the hot? And it's basically you need to break something in the editor.
Yeah, so a lot of people were asking how we were able to get like that on the ship, and do we break it after you spawn the ship? But like MWire found a really nice way to get damaged parts in the SSC.
So yeah,
it becomes part of your blueprint.
yeah. How does just explain what we're looking at? I've got it up here on the stream, but what are we looking at with this holographic display?
So basically, you have characters floating in space, so that you can like have an idea of a holographic floating display. But it is basically a grid display that is damaged, so we cut off a part of the display to the point that the display is still thinking it is okay, and it shows the characters still in the same spot where the grid display normally continues, but now the voxel damage has like removed part of the screen.
It looks pretty awesome.
Works as long as you don't cut inside the middle square. If you cut inside that, the screen's dead.
Pegrin says, "What the fuck? Damaged parts in the SSC? Are we just gonna ignore that?"
If you look
Yes.
at my stream, you can see it's just as proof.
Give me a second, and I'll see if I can bring up your.
They're
Says
just
you're
a
sharing.
huge pain sometimes.
They are.
They're a huge
MWire
pain to
watch
work with
stream.
because you can't. You can't copy paste them.
Give me a second. I'm
Yeah,
getting.
I can. What do you mean?
No, I mean Control C, Control V between blueprints.
Yes, you have to paste it into the blueprint. Like,
You need to
have-
bring the ship to the display, not the display to the ship.
yeah. So yeah, this is like the thing that's damaged, and then you. So this is what I'm working on releasing. Making
Oh.
like progress bars and stuff for everything.
Oh, so the display is on the back side of that
Yes.
panel,
You actually
and it's just extending. It doesn't realize that it's not there. Now, how are you
Yes.
breaking it in the SSC?
Trade secret.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think it's time to already release it. Basically, you take a laser, you fly with your ship like in test mode really far away and shoot backwards. And then when you exit the test mode, the laser still keeps going and hits your thing in the SSC.
I did the same thing but a little different. I had a large SSC, laser on one end, display on the other end, and you can get the lasers to charge so they immediately fire. And then they fire, and because the SSC is long enough, you can actually hit F5, and if you have enough parts, it unloads fast enough that the part is in the SSC and can get hit.
Yeah.
That seems like a
I-
lot of work.
Yes,
It was-
which is why I will release like a special like craft that allows you to do it like automatically almost. You just place
Yeah, so-
like
Like a module?
So
Like
that it is basically a module that is
It's-
like a display maker that you can drag into your current building project, and you kind of let it do its thing, and then you have your broken part.
But this thing right now is what I'm working on. I'll make it available for people. You will want this will not be free, but the actual display itself will be like you can just get the flip blueprints for this display. It's just I am making like scripts and stuff, so you have like little things you can add to your ship. So
Anyway,
like,
can you load like the headroom? Do you
Yeah.
have that one? Because they're like with the headroom we did like multiple displays stacking, so that you get this three-dimensional feeling, which shows you the crossing of your weapons to the distance, which help you also evaluate how big a ship is and how close by it is, so that you aim a little bit above it since you're sitting above your weapons. So it helps you find where to aim, basically.
Yeah, you can stack 4 and have them all connected by one socket tool if you place it right.
oh, so I see. You've got them stacked there, so they're behind one another, which gives you those little
I still haven't
X's.
figured out how Ace did it. That the host
Can you
had different
arm it?
views.
sorry, what's it?
Didn't
Can you
you do
arm?
like something where different views had it made sure that like the display always refreshed, so it doesn't just go blank and is useless?
Yes.
Yeah.
What you do is
So-
disconnect it and connect it again. Turn it
Oh,
off.
actually have a contactor to open and close.
Yes.
I didn't think of that. Thanks a
Yes,
lot.
so-
This is the innovation that will make
Oh.
advanced that will make these displays finally viable in multiplayer.
Yes, because there are some quirks on them. Like if you have a player go out of your render distance, the displays get like a queue that they can unrender, and that way you have the chance of losing displays, so
Yes.
they don't show anymore while they are still connected to the YOLO. And we have made some YOLO implementations to kind of like help that mitigate, and that worked really well during the tournament also. And then there is another quirk where if you edit your ship after you printed it and you save it, it no longer works. So it is really good for fighters, but not so much for story ships that you take out and modify and save.
I got you. So that because these displays can be quirky with that. Now you guys have you
Yes.
said you have a contact switch in here which resets it. Does that remedy that problem?
Yes.
So all you have to
Yes,
do
you
is
can
with
If
whether
you
using a
notice it
slider or
blinks
hinge or
every once in a while.
yep.
Yeah,
It-
you can
it's-
see it blinks once in
Yep.
a while to kind of like it physically disconnects them from your ship and then reconnects them, which gives them a cue to start up again.
I assume that's some sort of duct. You're touching ducts or moving them apart from one another.
Yes.
All right, that makes sense. An actual
So you have
physical switch.
On the bottom, you have the numbers of railgun shots that you can consecutively fire if you're flying and shooting lasers and stuff. So you kind of have a battery bar, but then translated to how much consecutive railgun shots do you have left.
Is that
and
the 1,
then
2,
on
and
the-
3? That's the
Yes.
there you go.
Yes, and on the right and the left, you see the green circles come up, which show which of the railguns are loaded.
That is
And
amazing.
then if you go in A mode, the little things become orange to show also that you're in A mode. So you get like sniper aiming.
Yeah, that's kind of more useful than what I did.
That is quite clever, and I don't know how you guys come up with that stuff. You must never leave the SSC.
You must never leave the SSC. SSC is holy.
I don't ever.
I'm like doing 3D modeling in real life with Fusion, and I'm quite amazed by how stable the SSC is in terms of usage. Like I enjoy it almost more than doing Fusion, since in Fusion you still have a lot of errors often. And
Yes, you do.
in this game, the SSC editor, when I first time opened it, I was like, oh my god, I have no time for this now, but I definitely gonna come back here. And I've spent so much time on it now because it's just such a pleasure to work on.
Oh, see,
It's
I find it
just-
the exact opposite. I hate the SSC, and I love Fusion.
Really?
I hate the SSC. I use Fusion 360 all the time. I cannot move around in the SSC. Because it doesn't. You don't move around in the SSC like you do in Fusion. In Fusion
Yes,
you rotate the object, you just zoom in and out. And in the SSC you're moving around and through the object. I'm lost. I'm always pointing the wrong direction. Oh, it's so frustrating to me. But I'm fine in Fusion. I can use Fusion and Blender all day. I am angry the moment I get in the SSC.
Oh really?
Oh, I
Wow.
hate it.
I'm really surprised how well it works without having to deal with a lot of issues. It's just a lot of games are really cool to play, but because the game has so many issues, you kind of stop playing them because it's just such a hassle. I was trying to get back in Supreme Commander, but people constantly disconnecting from the game makes it just so not fun to play. And with the SSC, it's just like it keeps on going. Even if I let my PC run for like 3 days straight,
It's certainly
the SSC
stable.
still
Yeah,
works.
it's certainly
Yeah.
stable. But
mean,
my
it's-
entire Starbase experience is outside of the SSC.
I have
Yeah,
been
that's
told.
totally opposite of the SSC.
Yeah, I've
Outside
been-
of SSC is very scary.
I have been told that the SSC was actually the dev tool they used to make all the other ships in the game. It's like actually technically a dev tool, but not really.
I understand the benefit of the SSC. I am so clumsy in there that it's
Yeah,
frustrating.
Yeah, the devs essentially built the SSC for themselves, which is why they have like these few odd features like the multi-user undo and the scene view. Where it's like all the objects that are in the SSC are in the scene view. And then multi-user undo is yeah.
Alright, hold on. Looks like we might get one more person to join us.
Also, you saw the way my HUD worked, right?
Yes.
It's the dot. It's just the cursor that moves around, and it uses a laser designator translation sensor in the back of the ship.
Let me see if I can bring it up. Give me a second, because I think you're streaming, are you not?
I'm streaming it, yeah.
Give me a second.
But
Hello, Forge Templar. Now you're not Forge Templar in the game. You are.
I'll change that name to avoid that.
Give me.
Confusion.
Yeah. Give me a second. All right, we'll bring up Vegas
Just
here,
like
just so you
sell
can
my
see the.
kidneys when I join the server.
yeah, what this system here does is it kind of tries to show you where your bullets will aim, so that's like you keep
Oh,
that
stop it.
point on target for a certain time while firing, and the bullets should, in theory, with the deflection, actually hit the target. That's the hope.
Oh, look at that
However, the math,
Pagrin jump back in because Bentley's here.
yeah, but I kind, yeah,
Yeah, that's an interesting.
the thing is just the math is completely botched because it's like it uses ship slip to indicate as like a function of turn rate, even though that's not correct. Because if I just strafe, right, if I just go, so actually let the ship slow down first.
That's so cool.
Yeah, if it say we go this way, right? So we're just strafing to the left. Now that I fire, what direction would you guys expect the bolts to go?
To the right.
Correct. However, what the display thinks it needs to do is go to the left.
Mm.
Because in a turn, if you fire, they will go to that direction because you're turning.
But strafing, it doesn't do the same mathematics.
Yes. It
That is
should be different that it should use a gyroscope, but it doesn't.
That's so cool, though.
That is, it's really a nice thing to know how just even if it's just a concept of how far you need to aim ahead. It's just
Yeah.
It's
Kind of just went by intuition though, but
Yeah,
yeah.
We have a lot of plans for it also. We have tried this also, but we didn't want to do it on the tournament because it just didn't update quick enough. And it's like depending on how far your target is, where it should aim. So we had some other plans with it, but decided not to really go for it. Another thing we really would like to try is to implement some of the people's compass systems in it, so that you get like a three-dimensional plane that you can kind of orientate yourself
Oh,
on.
I cannot wait
It's
for
gonna
that.
be like a lot of work.
Yeah,
Oh, yes.
that sounds like a lot of
The
work.
old PFD.
All right, Bentley, welcome.
Hello, hello.
How are you? Let
Hey,
me turn.
Bentley.
Let me turn you up here, because you're
We're
super
gonna
quiet.
do most of that.
Yeah, for next, I will probably try to do like almost like a dynamic simulation, but not quite, for how the bullets will fly. Or is simulation almost?
That's a cool screen.
Oh, the PFD, yeah.
Yeah,
gonna
the
need
screen.
that little tool.
That's one of the compass systems in the game. That's really cool.
Yes, it has.
Oh, Jesus.
It's like very cool.
It's an artificial horizon. The unfortunate part is just the amount of fuel. So the way it's made, it's the purple cross is good. If there's a waypoint selected, purple cross is the direction you go. Just point at this one and you're good.
Isn't that crazy?
Yes. And
fucking
the
nuts.
dots
Sorry.
they get bigger for the lower hemisphere and smaller for the upper one. Because I couldn't do colors that well because three layers. And the other downside is just the immense amount of yellow you need. It's this stuff here just does the yellow dots. It's all double chipped.
That's crazy. You guys need to go outside more often.
Yeah.
Okay, fine, but I'm taking my PC with me.
There's grass out there. I don't know if you want to go outside. That's pretty terrifying.
It's terrifying. All right, Bentley, congratulations, by the way.
I know. I got carried. It was amazing.
It was amazing. Well, Scipion flew your ship,
First
though,
fight,
didn't he?
And then I just let my teammates carry me the rest of the way. Brilliant.
Well, that is brilliant. That's management. You were managing. You were supervising and delineating tasks. They pay you extra for that in most businesses.
In fact, I'm normally the one paying for things. But it's a video game, so it's all good.
All right. So
Yeah.
So we talked about some of the stuff. You missed some of our questions, but I'll let you answer them. I asked everybody what do you think that worked exceptionally well for your team or your ship, and what are some things that didn't work that you might change moving forward? Obviously, you guys won, so it worked pretty well. But was there anything that you tried to do that didn't work?
Fully good practice more because he's just that dangerous.
Oh,
sometimes
yeah.
sometimes.
Oh my gosh.
And there were a few very tense moments in the call. You know, it did seem like sometimes in the fights that the more Ouroboros you eliminated, the harder he fought. So it got a bit tense at the end.
It would be easier if he missed a little more often. Yeah, it would be. Now, was there anything that you did do other than just target choice? Really, did you guys were happy with your strategy and with your ships in general?
Well, the main strategy overall was just don't turn fight because I
Yeah,
mean, just look at Abominator, Spice Rub, and the other people who collided into each other in their blind spots. Like, there's just not much you can do. You could be the best pilot in the world, but you won't get out of that one, or you just don't have enough time.
There is a method to the madness, though.
There is. Well, if you're outnumbered, it makes sense because the opponent's more likely to crash into each other than you are. So, like, you know, if you're in a 1v3, 2v3, you know.
Like me and Ace in the Axolotl were turn fighting the same person, and we knew exactly what to do not to collide. So
Well,
it is possible.
you
it is possible, yeah.
well, you act like you react like you practice. So if you guys had practice with, combined turn fighting, then it becomes a little easier. But if you're like Sauerkraut Jäger, where you kind of throw together a team in the last 15 minutes, turn fighting's probably not your best bet.
A whole month.
well, it's when I was like turn fighting against good prax, I was like, shit, I'm turn fighting against good prax. There's no way to do that. Well,
You don't
I,
do
like,
that.
yes, I need to.
You can, but
The issue is I don't know what the breakout maneuver for turn fighting is.
well, at least you don't do it when you've got teammates.
Yeah. Well, I noticed that yeah, you guys seem to try and stay out of
Well,
the axis of those flat ships. There was a lot of trying to shoot down or up on them, or a lot of target switching I saw between you guys as opportunities showed up.
Yeah, it's like rope-a-dope versus
Yep.
boxing in the pocket. Because, well, when you see like the heavier fights, they circle around each other, they unload about 10 tons of ammunition into each other's face, and
Yeah.
then one of them dies. And it's actually quite quick as well because just of the volume of firepower, which doesn't leave any room for strategy sometimes.
Right.
So the whole strategy was to slow everything down, run away a bit more, which is scary, but you've got to do it. Which then stopped everyone from doing what they wanted to do, which was circle fight. Everyone wanted to circle fight, so we just weren't going to let anyone do that.
And what did it change really much when they started trying to fight around the structure?
No,
Yeah.
because we practiced that. That was actually part of our strategy too. Well, that was what we were. Yeah, we were. I don't know. I guess good practice just observes very well because he saw me doing it a few times. But yeah, if you're outnumbered, there's only one thing you can really do to break people up and stop them from just surrounding you and obliterating you is to just break them up with the structures. So.
Well, it worked well for Abdominator. It didn't work so well for Faraway. But
I got a shot off before it happened though.
Why is so much people here?
well, hi, Pepa.
Hey guys.
Are you all showing up for the interview post?
Well, I
The after party.
I didn't expect anybody to show up, but you're all here and it's fantastic. Hello, Pepa. Congratulations.
What?
Well, you guys took third in the tournament, right? Yeah.
We beat Spice Rob. That's the main
Hey.
victory.
Well,
Yeah,
I need to add to Pepa's mental state. He was always the first one to die in the mosquito in a tactic that we
That's
failed
what happens when you
anticipating.
run a 500-ton ship with a railgun. We're not going to ignore you. I'm sorry. I know it was mean what we did to you. I'm really sorry, but
Five
that had to
500
happen. We're not ignoring you.
It
Well-
was only 150.
How many times I've been shot in the ass by Spice Rob, all of us, like collectively, like we knew what you were trying to do. We weren't letting you have that. Like,
It-
we had
it
to
was
get rid of you.
Well, I tried, but the problem was that just one shot of plasma disabled the Moscow. That was like the main trouble that I had.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the issue with the tournaments, I think, for us, we just didn't know who was shooting us in the first place. Because when the El Moscow targets you and knows that you're about to shoot it, you can't. Like, it is very difficult to aim at it because it's designed to be a maneuverable ship that dodges all the bullets. I think who was it yesterday? Scipion? That demonstrated
Yeah,
it yesterday?
Scipion.
Yeah, I demonstrated to him yesterday how difficult it is to actually shoot when it actually knows you're about to shoot it. It's just during the tournament, things were a lot more chaotic, so we didn't really get a chance to like shine how good.
They switched. I think Scipion switched to something with a bunch of autocannons to.
Scipion wanted
Those
two of
cannons
us.
and plasma.
We were discussing before. He wanted two of those to really make sure. But
Mm,
we didn't want. I didn't
Yeah.
want to give up the rails, so. And
Yeah,
Oxy
those.
Mine had a ship that he spent ages building, and it had rails. He was like, "I'm not switching to a laser right now."
No, it had googly eyes
Well-
too. That was the googly eyes really brought it out.
Yeah.
Well, if
The
not
main-
for Scipion, that would have made you a lot more trouble with
Yes.
Moscows, but thanks to just one Scipion ship.
So
that made
yes.
all the difference there.
I thought it was very.
It was main-
Good.
It was mainly because of us living in a vacuum of our own ID and not trying it out in the field and seeing that we need to either have some alterations on our strategy to make sure that the mosquitoes cannot are not getting hit from the side basically where they're easier to hit. Yeah, we kind of didn't test the strategy against the real people.
I did like.
Sorry, go.
I just gonna say I enjoyed the end of the round of Spice Rub versus Ace Crystal, where Spice Rub's out of ammo, shooting you with laser or rockets, standing on his ship. Like it was a perfect fitting end to the whole.
yes, we're very satisfied with that.
He was out of ammo. Like he was ready to just jump up and fist fight you before the fight was over. Like he wasn't giving up. It was such a fitting end.
You should have bought the rail for that time. You would have had more ammo.
Yeah, he would have.
I think it wouldn't have been able to kill the ship though.
Mm-mm.
It's so tanky to rail.
You know where he's got the Australian internet. He gets desynced and he
Oh,
wants to
it is-
desync you.
It is funny because we tested the Elmo Moscows. Everybody keeps calling them the mosquitoes, but they're actually El Moscow.
It's
But yeah, Ito is like small, so it implies that there is a meme about it that implies that there is something bigger than a mosquito. So these
Another
are the
meme.
El Moscows. But the idea was that the railgun on them makes them really dangerous, and we had some
Yeah,
test
that's why we killed
fights.
him.
That's why we
Yeah,
killed him.
we had some test fights on the PTU where there is like one mosquito against the big ship of ours, and the second mosquito, or the second Moscow. I know I do it by myself here. So the second Moscow is then free to shoot me, and I would lose fights against two mosquitoes in the big ship because it
That's a
just
skill
does
issue.
so much damage.
See
Yeah.
that coming a
Skill
long
issue.
way.
about it, so we're gonna make.
You go far away.
Yeah, I thought those ships, if you could actually, if they would have let you really implement those two little mosquitoes, they could have made the fight, but nobody was letting you, nobody was letting you use them. It was at the beginning of each one of those fights, I was like, all right, are they gonna put one ship on both mosquitoes, or are they gonna split up 3v3? And it was so many times they're like, oh, everybody's going for the mosquitoes. Like, we're just going to ignore the Hadron, and we're going to get rid of this excess DPS.
The Hadron's not gonna shoot us stats soon.
To me, that ship should have been a colliding ship, because the large Hadron, I thought you would have rammed people, being a collider. But that just, the name-wise, I think, I thought you were going to ram some people. But yeah, I was pleased at how everybody did. It was fun to see the different, not only ship designed differences, but the tactics in fighting. And then what's the next meta, because the old meta isn't working anymore. So it'll be fun to see what the next tournament brings. Since Seal Clubs,
that turn fighting still works. It's not free anymore.
Right.
You're not allowed to just do it all the time anymore.
Well, and it doesn't work in a 3v3. It doesn't work in a 3v3 where not everybody's agreed to that. There's no chivalry in this. So
I kind of get the idea that that most people know what the next clear meta is.
And that is?
What's that?
I would guess it's 3-dimensional.
Oh, you want to go spice up, do you?
Yes.
You want to get the old drift music going and the old Euro beat?
Yes.
Mm.
It is what we have seen with the Moscows to be very effective. We have seen it by Spicer being very effective. Like, he's only sporting one railgun and he's still owning people with it. So it is because he's a good shot, but if you're fighting him, you will notice how difficult it is compared to just just circle fighting.
Oh yeah.
I think everyone knows it, but no one knows how to do it. No one's made a ship good enough to counter it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But
Well,
I guess that's gonna be something that we will
Actually, ITC did.
see more.
They copied the entire thing.
I think that
ITC made a Chinese knockoff of it.
Oh yeah, right. What is it? The
Just a
isn't
normal
that
knockoff.
basically Isn't that basically the Hadron but described over the
Yeah.
phone?
They've even got the fuck you far away button on it and everything.
Yeah.
that's pretty funny.
And the spank me daddy rail charge lever.
I think
Spice up ship quite well.
I think that the difference here between the orbital fighting and this three-dimensional fighting is it's going to require an increase in pilot skill, and
Yes,
That's
and
an
an
exponential
increase
amount.
and an increase in buttons on your fingers. And
Yes.
I have not really figured that one out yet. I have multiple
Increase
ideas.
in buttons is always.
Yeah,
that's
how
always amazing.
how do I incorporate like strafe, pitch yaw, roll, and then also firing and aiming and yeah.
I was
I-
about
I-
to
Controller
use the
time.
space mask, but no.
Controller.
Space
Gonna need
mask.
pedals soon.
Controller.
Okay,
Or,
pedals,
or I don't
controllers.
know if you remember it. There was a ship. I think it was the Marble. It was like
Ooh.
an old ship.
Oh, yeah.
Back before the yeah, you know the one. It used you know the mouse aim, the
Yep.
C menu. It used that to
Mhm.
control strafe. So if you moved the mouse left, it moved left and right, up, down. So like you could aim and fire with your normal keybinds, and then if you just wanted to haul right, you just moved your mouse to the right of the screen, and your ship just started moving that way. It was a very weird ship, but it did work. Only went 80 though in every direction, so it just died all the time whenever I used it.
How far is Elon Musk with his mind link thing?
Yeah, Neuralink is next. Yeah, we can't even get HOTAS support in here, let alone Neuralink.
You'd be in the middle of a fight and then an advert for like Amazon would pop up on the right. It's like midway. Unless you pay $2.99 to Daddy
Nightmare.
Bezos.
Okay, I gotta go, but before that, do you guys know what the next weight will be for the tournament?
I don't think there's
Yeah.
been.
Please tell.
Yeah, I don't
Probably
think.
heavier to get more participation.
Where's the where's the
I was
sweet
hope
spot? Do you
was-
think?
Hmm?
Where's
I
the
think it
sweet
should
spot?
be asymmetric a little. I don't think they should be per person. Like if they do like 3v3 again, they should probably do like 5,000 tons to at least force a bit of engineering.
Yes, that's what I'm thinking. Around 4,500, 5,000 tons.
I was thinking. I think that this 1 kiloton required you guys to be very creative to get 3 1 kiloton ships. But I think you'd have a little more wiggle room with 1.5 kilotons or, you know, 5 kiloton 3v team. So
There is only one big problem with going heavier. It is to do with frame rates. So
Yeah.
both the ships
Oh,
to
yeah.
run them become heavier to run. I can feel that on like a ship like the Dragonwing also, where the frame rate just gets really low if I load that ship in. But the biggest problem actually becomes by the laser meta on bigger ships,
Yes.
where if you have enough lasers, you can hit your opponent with enough lasers. It directly like disintegrates your FPS. It's
Oh,
like your
okay.
game freezes up. In the last 3,000 ton battles, ship battles, Kai and I even had like crash reports and crashed the whole game when like the two opponents were firing me
Give a
with
big
lasers.
shot with the pig.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
just get
2
so
minutes
much.
lag and then you die.
and where does
Yes,
where is that where's the crossover point weight wise where that starts to really become an issue?
I think it's around the 2-ton mark.
Now
Yeah.
Which is
per
I
ship.
think anything
not actually
anything
the
above anything above 10 lasers, I think will really start to give big issues.
yeah. Yeah,
But
what-
it will be a 3v3, remember, so they're not going to be around each other as much. Or if they they won't be around each other for very long until they smash into each other.
Mm-hmm.
Because yeah, even adding 1k to the weight limit of each ship, if you, for instance, did 6k 3v3, would be so much slower, less acceleration, at least double the
Yes.
time to get to 150. So you can have a lot more circle fighting. So
Not if you replace all the weight with thrusters instead.
yeah, or you just do speed tactics. But that's the choice you got to make. Although it's even still. I mean, I turn my graphics down to avoid that.
Yeah, me
problem.
too.
Oh, I would
Just get
assume
the
in a
right
tournament
games.
you play a potato level.
Yeah. And why I had on the 3,000 ton ship also the issue where he was getting just lasered and instantly he couldn't aim anymore.
It's
and
like
for other
a-
people, you sit also still.
Yeah, the issue as well was when I got hit, my frame rate drops, and when your frame rate drops, your aiming goes really jittery.
Oh yeah.
Like,
Oh yeah. Wait,
when we're fighting with
Tell you why that
Spectrum.
happens as well, because lever speed is based on FPS. So if your FPS drops, your actual lever speed slows down. So you
And
actually
the
have to
enemy
slow
Oh
it
ship
down.
my God.
also, the enemy ship also starts to jitter as well. Like
Yeah,
if
it
it's
certainly
really
does.
Bad, like,
Yeah, I've been on the
Um,
on the receiving end of Praxis with him using 16 lasers, and the laser splash when it hits your ship just kills your FPS. You know, you're blinded, and your ship's no longer responding, and you might as well be just dead in the water at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Daddy Kai's got the
Just
ability to
punch your
update though.
generator that you're sitting next to, right?
Just
Yeah.
ask Kai. Just ask Kai to half the size of the laser fucking particle effect anyway, because it's stupid anyway.
Oh,
It
it's
looks
the
like a red
lasers.
laser bomb going off on your screen every time it hits you.
It's awful. Yeah.
You're blinded.
Yes. Well, I mean,
if it's
the blind.
not because of the frame, it is because of the blinding effect. You
Well, the
get.
blinding
Yeah,
effect, I think,
that's
is a
valid,
valid.
though.
Yeah, the blinding is
Yeah.
valid. If they can hit you in the glass, that's skill at that point.
That's people who can aim, being very polite, and letting you know you're about to die and get
Yeah,
ready to hit the enemy.
yeah, yeah.
Exactly. They already give you a hint, like just respawn.
I'm all right with the blinding. It's the fact that when you're blinded, the other ship starts to rubber band, and your controls no longer work. And
It's PTU. It's
Yeah.
a bit better on live. PTU's dog shite.
but
It gets more D6 on.
oh,
live.
it's-
Not
it's-
really trust it as much.
yeah, I don't have enough money to get blown up on the live server as many times as I've lost it on the PTU.
It's also actually
Me?
was actually
No.
very fun after the tournament, and was like, what is it? I want to see how much did it take to, if the series could take on the Saturn. It's like, didn't realize it was that big of a ship.
The which ship?
The series taking on the Higgs Hadron.
Mm. Yeah, his
You were
the
there, MY,
yeah,
on
Yeah.
my side.
yep, it
There
was
the Higgs Hadron series and then Abdominator as well.
Two times Abdominator. Yeah.
Yeah, and we actually crashed into each other as far as I know.
Yes, also.
Twice.
Oh, Doggo's here. I see Doggo. Hello, Doggo.
Doggo?
Oof. Hello,
Mm,
does
that's
my
wonderful.
voice work?
It seems
Yes,
to.
it works.
Okay, I thought it was a bit quiet.
Transmitting noise.
I'll turn it up if I let me turn you up.
Oh,
You're
I think
always
it's
quiet.
I was just quietly listening to your conversation for the last half an hour.
We did talk about you. We did.
Oh yeah, I've been watching a little bit of your stream, but I wasn't thinking of jumping in, but I just changed my mind.
Oh, please jump in. I like the more the merrier. So, and I don't know what I'm talking about. So these conversations are good for me. I always love your ship. I was not shocked. I was impressed by those two articulating independent arms. Always shock me, but it looked like you had to narrow up the connections quite a bit. They didn't look like they were as well attached as the ship I've seen you with earlier.
Yeah, it's always comes down to weight in the end, because each turret by itself is at least 600 tons. So I've got like 12,000 tons of almost useless weight on a ship, so I have almost nothing left for armor, power, weapons.
The
and
important stuff.
yeah. So I had to completely delete the stems of the turret and replace it with toothpicks, just so I could get enough weight to enter the competition. But as a result, they were just completely shut off when I took a couple of hits into the stems of the turrets.
So they worked for like a minute.
Yeah, and the aiming as well, it kind of needed fine tuning. It was very shaky, but that was mostly because we were fighting from a long distance. At close range, it's usually much better, but long distance, I need to adjust the turntable speed, make it a bit slower.
We're a bit sad that we were the team to disqualify you.
Oh,
Or eliminate.
I like to go against the tough opponents, even if I'm going to lose anyway, because it's just more fun to actually test it against a good opponent.
We were actually quite scared for the small ones because it's like they cannot take any hits. So
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Take them out instantly.
Like, I really liked Element's turrets. But
Yeah.
I think-
Yeah, for sure.
I do think they're limited to just one gun on each arm, which is very light. Because as soon as you put a second gun or third gun or fourth gun and you've only got two turntables, it kind of loses a lot of its responsiveness. And then the only way to increase the weaponry is to have like literally 4 turntables and a robot arm for both the pitch and the horizontal.
And then they're
And
much
at that
larger.
stage- yeah, and then at that stage, it has to have a minimum requirement of being bloody massive. And then that takes like 500 tons.
Their guns seemed really, really quick to respond and like easy to aim.
Way
They
better
seemed
than I thought.
no, they looked great.
Yeah, I was impressed as well. I didn't think they would turn that quickly, but I think it was just because they had the one gun and they didn't have anything else on it.
Yeah, I would like to see them implement that slightly differently and try again, because there was definitely some validity in those ships. First of all, they were only, I think Kai said they were only like 400 or 500 tons apiece. So, you know, they could have, there was some wiggle room in, and there was only 2 of them. So
Oh, definitely. I think it was only 500 tons each, so they had 2,000 spare
yeah,
tons.
yeah,
Could have done so much more, really.
yep. So so there was, I'd like to see them again, because that was a very smart design. Though I think the guns would have gotten blown up, would have gotten removed pretty quickly against.
The cockpits also, it seemed very, very like underprotected.
Yeah, I think Pegrin said they only had 1 layer of glass or 2 layers of glass, and they weren't quite.
Few, but they were in the wrong orientation.
They were in the wrong orientation. Yeah.
Yeah, that was definitely quite new to the whole PvP, but they had an interesting design anyway.
It is good to see new faces.
They also could have like put their ammunition inside so that they don't have them outside on the weaponry.
True, I do think the arms were so delicate that if they would have got one shot, they would have gone anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So they might as well just put it there.
Did they actually had sliders on the arms? Because I did hear people say that, but I didn't actually.
It looked like it.
It was like the same color as a slider, but I don't know if that was just for aesthetics, because they weren't. I don't think they were using it.
Because
Dalgo, how are they using it? How did they make the pitch axis?
I think they used the robot arms pitch axis, because one of them said they actually watched my videos, so I assume they used the robot arm. I don't even know, really. I didn't really ask. I don't know what the sliders were about.
They went in and out. At least that's
Yeah,
what I thought
maybe
it was.
it was just a fancy feature to extend the arms. Maybe, I don't know.
I don't.
It's a brave choice, I must say.
It was a brave. That's what I said when they came out. I'm like, those look great, but that's a lot of moving parts.
I think I know what the sliders were about. They wanted to embrace the enemy.
Yeah. The old auto.
It did work. It's like that's how I. Thanks to them, I got into the top 6, I think.
Thanks to them.
Plasma hugger.
Yep, and the old.
Which means that top half is you get, I think, at least a toaster head.
They had like just, was it a single autocannon on each arm, or was it a pair of autocannons on each arm?
Just one on each arm.
So they only had 2 guns total.
Yeah. And that's what I meant by underpowered, and if they had to increase that, they would have to then use stacked turntables and robot arms, and at that point it becomes huge.
Well, I could just see them hard mounting, 4 more autocannons on the cockpit of the ship, and then them not.
Or you just.
Yeah, there's stationary mounted.
A bunch of tiny turrets.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Just loads of little ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's an idea.
Just have like a circle of them.
How do you aim the ones that aren't up and down and left and right?
I mean, that's...
I don't know.
Right, you have
YOLO.
Yes.
Ew.
Well, naturally.
Naturally.
Like, of course you'll like this. The series had all its YOLO in the tanks because, like, if that gets blown up, the entire ship gets blown up. So who cares at that point?
Who am I watching? Thank you, M-Wire, for providing the entertainment here. The video. I'm just watching you fly around.
Oh.
I like this. This is way better than staring at my SSC terminal.
I was just wondering if someone's watching my stream, even seeing if I can get this series going so it can fly itself to the scrapyard.
So.
M-Wire's like ambient.
Yeah, it's just like it was flying around. I'm like, let's let it go. It's better than staring at my hangar terminal like what we were doing. Yeah, it's good. It's good. It's perfect ambience. So let's see what else happened during the tournament that was unexpected. Were there anybody that didn't show as well as you expected, or showed better than you expected?
There was Code who just didn't show.
Well, they did not show.
Thanks to Code, we got the top 6 again.
I was shocked to see good practice not with Nick, but with Happy Trigger.
Yep, I knew about that one, but I was surprised with that when Nick didn't fight. But
skill issue.
Oh yeah, he's thrown in the towel. Yeah.
No.
Doesn't like the ones
Nick is really good.
Oh, yeah, I know. Yeah. Yeah, I've died to Nick several many times.
A little surprised for seeing Tomb Boost with Robotnica, because
Oh yes.
historically speaking, Alpha's had a bit of a rivalry with those two, with Pandora. Because watching his videos, he spent a lot of time fighting them. So it was
Yeah.
quite a nice little surprise to see that Tomb Boost actually just made an appearance and wasn't actually acting.
Yeah, Tomb Boost.
Want to see Pandora.
That team had a good showing. They put up some of the good fights.
Yeah, I'm presuming he didn't have time to practice, so yeah, he did very well.
And I found
He
it.
need it as well, so.
I found it also interesting to see Kai come up with a new ship, the Bob Fighter.
Yeah.
The Bob Fighter, I
really
was saying
good
that.
Working on
And
it.
it is actually a pretty interesting ship to take a look at. We did take a look at it, and one of the interesting things we saw was that he's actually using Deltium armor.
Yeah, Deltium armor and Oninum railings.
Who are we gonna tell about that?
You got that from looking at my ship.
What, the Oninum railings? Or the Deltium armor?
No,
No, we
Onium
featured the
anything is just Onium anything, so like you can generally just try that out with any plate and see if it
There's
hangs
some
a shot.
plates that actually have
works quite
very
well.
interesting performance with Oninum, made from Oninum.
But Daltium is just better char.
Isn't
Slightly
Daltium like slightly less weight than Exorium? Hello?
It's only 1.5 kg more than char, but it provides more hit points on it.
Yeah, because I remember using it on a previous fighter because it was able to block a rail shot, but it didn't weigh quite as much as something else. I think it was Exorium.
Yeah, Exorium is actually one of the.
You mean Exutium? Because Exorium's fuel.
Oh,
Exutium-
No,
yeah,
Exorium does
yeah,
make this armor.
whatever that alloy is called, Zutium. Yeah,
Exutium.
Zutium.
Voxel armor. Very heavy voxel armor.
Yeah. I think Daltium's like slightly lighter than that, is it?
Yeah, lighter than Exorium. Midway between that and char, I think. Correctly.
So
Really just load up the SSC and look.
So, being that you guys don't have to pay for the materials, do you tend to use, do you just tend to use Cherodium, or do you go through essentially every piece and try and find...
I use Eumerium actually.
Euberium?
Yes,
Why-
Eumerium.
That place is better.
That's old school.
No,
You mean
Naphthalite has
for
less
armor?
armor value.
Yeah, for
Yeah, but
what?
it's like a lot lighter.
Okay, so with the coupons, when you don't have the materials used, you can use the most exotic materials on your ship, and you don't really have to, you
Yeah.
don't really have to worry about the cost.
Yeah, 4 rail I was flying was ridiculously expensive to
Yeah.
repair.
Like
And then-
it's tournament ships are like
Not fun.
unrealistic.
The live one is not
They
made of
fly
fucking
one, they
thorium.
break it, and take
No.
it to the scrapyard.
Yeah, that kind of thing.
Make a cheap
Just
Trodium, version for the lifestyle.
Alright, I clicked out of the wrong
Sounds great.
window. Yeah, that seems to be the standard, that you guys just drop everything that's in armor in Cherodium to start with.
Very, very readily available. Good voxel armor. Not as heavy as the other options. Already being used quite a lot in the ship anyway, so makes sense.
It's a proven design.
And it's a baseline. You
I
can.
have a question for you guys. Do you guys like do research on the materials you use? Like
Sometimes.
sure, like research like weapon testing and stuff like that?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
do that sometimes, yes.
Lord knows you guys do.
Yeah. I do it quite a bit. Scipion
like-
does it a lot.
Tried a lot of the decorative plates in like what material can I make them of? Can I get some interesting results? I did
which
get
is-
some.
I am interested in the fascination with decorative plates. Like, where did it come from?
I don't know.
Just the way that railguns and plasmas work versus autocannons and laser.
So if anyone wants to hear my theory is that it's related to how big the chunk is after it gets hit.
Bingo.
Yeah, that's my idea because I don't think railings actually fly off into huge chunks.
It's more a matter of consequences, because if you look at the actual voxel damage that's done to a plate after it's had its HP reduced, both plasma and rail cannons have a massive hole. Anything attached to that plate is also going to fall off. and you're going to have a really, really, really bad time. And to make matters worse as well, that material that's being like eliminated, that's voxel armor, or for other shots that it could be potentially blocking.
So
So it's chainmail is the best analogy for what the railings and all that stuff is you put a layer in front of the big plates that you absolutely don't want to have a big chunk in, and then you replace it with a plate that's just tanky enough to absorb the shot that you're intending for it to absorb, but when destroyed will be a smaller, section than what would have happened if it just hit a big plate.
As much armor as it needs, and no more.
Or it acts as a whipple shield, if you know what that is.
So I'm just
also
curious.
softens the blow.
I'm curious about how plates work. If you have like a big plate and then you've got sacrificial armor attached directly to that big plate, and let's say the big plate loses its HP, but it only has a small hole in it, and it's still got all those sacrificial plates attached to it. Does they all just fall off, or?
Not always. It depends on just how much purchase it has, because normally it just starts breaking off the weakest parts first, but it can do. But you don't really notice that with like lasers or autocannons. You'll notice that the whole point of voxel armor is that it stays there to absorb lasers and autocannons after it's been broken.
So some of the
broken voxel armor could still hold other plates, couldn't it?
Well, it's sort of, from my experience, once a plate is reduced to a certain mass, like a certain amount has been taken away, it just falls off. It's like sort of like once past 50%, it kind of gradually loses structural durability as it becomes a lighter part, and as it eroded.
That's how we think it is also, that the plates can get damaged and can get voxel damage, but there is, just like the grid displays, you can do only a certain amount of voxel damage to them before they fully stop working. And before they fully stop working, or before you go past a certain level of removed area, they keep a proportion of their structural durability.
Here's the question. Jongo's asking, what's the best lightweight armor that also has some strength to it? And I would assume you answered that as Cherodium is probably the best one.
The answer is it depends how light and how strong.
If you want to get like decent light armor, I would go with Bestonium.
I usually go with Corium. Like it doesn't
want that alive.
Like it doesn't have Yeah, I know, it's super expensive.
That's the thing.
Cost it's monopoly money in the tournaments.
Like it doesn't have voxel armor, but I use it in emergencies if like my ships are like way overweight.
Yeah, Corium is still pretty heavy though, but it is the most efficient in weight versus amount of armor.
Gotcha. Here's another question.
I thought it was Ymirim, but apparently it's not.
It used to be.
Yeah,
back in the old days. Way before we had alloy.
Yeah, when they introduced alloys, they even changed the armor values, I believe, of Agisium, which was like the best before alloys were introduced. So now the alloys are better than the ores themselves.
Here's a question.
Naphthalite is like the most lightweight thing you can use.
Yep, naphthalite's definitely the way to cut weight out of it.
That's like absolute emergencies.
Yeah, you got that's not worth anything, right?
Trigger was really killing me for the size of my ship would require it to be naphthalite armor. Then there's no way I'm armoring any of it. But like, clearly,
have you seen what Kai does? He uses Tengium for some stuff like that.
Oh.
But I don't know. That seems very old school collective tech to me. Like that seems like something.
No, actually, Tengium is pretty good. It's just not as efficient, I think.
I think it's because he had plates that he didn't want to remove because it would look ugly, but he still wanted to have like some other value. They weren't going to stop anything, but he still wanted the thing behind it to at least get like 10%.
Pretend like we care about pilot safety.
No, we're not going to pretend. So here's a question: we're fighting. This tournament was done at Rober. Do you think this is the best place to do a tournament, or would you like to see some sort of a different environment for a tournament?
I like Roper. So personally, I like her because within that sphere, the octagon, whatever, you can tow ships.
I'm just talking about for the tournament. We're just talking about the actual fighting of the tournament. Forget the towing. But I mean,
that's why it's actually handy, because the other guys tow the ships out, and then it's clear area for next round.
Right, I'm just talking
You
about
don't need to worry
fighting
about
the
clearing
tournament.
area,
Yeah,
Guy has dev powers.
yeah.
Guy
Like I'm
can
not worried
move
about that.
things into the void.
I'm just saying, as a pilot or as a contestant within these tournaments, would you like to see something different in a tournament venue? Would you want obstacles, asteroids? Do you want it to be open space, or what would make the tournament?
Definitely not asteroids. When we were
Below the
doing,
asphalt belt.
You went to Armour, didn't you? And you
Yes.
experienced what it's like to duel
Yes.
around. Yeah. It didn't used to be that bad, but they changed something. Well, they added all the fucking. Sorry for the language. They added
It's
all the
alright.
asteroids, didn't they? All the chunkers. And ever since then, Armour's not been quite the same for PvP because every 5 seconds you grab host of an asteroid and
Ah, so it's the hosting
you get a
issues. It's the hosting
You get
issues.
yeah.
It's not the fighting around the asteroids. It's the
No, that's fun.
so
You might
if
be in the middle of a battle and you just see a little ice roid just fly past your screen. You're like, oh, that could have killed me. That's great.
well, I mean, because technically he could use something other than asteroids. He could put wreckage out here. They could make other obstacles for that
yes, like,
become an
just,
issue.
If there's a custom station, I mean, the size of stations is not really good enough or size of player made stations is not good for fighting.
And LOD. Player stations would have loads
Yeah,
of
Ella.
LODs.
That's
Yeah.
true.
But change of scenario would be really nice. Also, it is really underappreciated that this frame or that Robo has, because you have a lot of perspective on your velocity versus the opposing player's velocity. Because especially in 3D fights, we found with Ace that if you have no perspective, that it's much harder to hit your enemy.
I got you. What about
That's much harder, but it is much difficult.
Rober if it were intact and it were an actual enclosed sphere with a lot more structure?
Rover, like this station rover with
But it was an actual.
Did you see my suggestion? Because if we want more different structures, like Guy has a cap ship, so we could go to Rillicita and Nox.
But
That's very open.
But you get
Rillicita and Nox, the ghost station.
Oh, the ghost. Yeah.
That's my idea.
So you could use. I got you. So if you use those, I can't remember what. I don't know what those would be like to fly. Would be to be.
There was the first crate event. The last crate event was at that one before Rover.
Oh, that's right.
70 kilometers, and then the other one's like.
But it's not as big as Rover. Like Rover is like the biggest big sphere.
Yeah, it's a big
And
sphere.
the
It's
Lictor
quite
station
a
is
large-
more.
it's a like that's what I'm saying though. The difference is that one has obstacles in between and around the actual station.
I would really want
switch
to.
up.
I would really want to have fights in a belt though with the fog, because I had on the last cargo crate, I had a fight with Spice Rep and he pulled like a really awesome move where he flew through the clouds and I wasn't sure yet if he knew we were following him, and he flew into these clouds and we were just following him, and then it became little visible again, so we were going out of the cloud and he was just sitting there turned around ready to railgun us directly in the face. So that was a really cool move that he did, and I really like other fights that I've had in the real world, not in a tournament where we were following each other through the openings in the cloud and then suddenly diving in the clouds and then diving out of the clouds again. That was really, really cool.
So we got started back in the day.
Yeah, I mean I think Rover's a great environment. I just would like to see something a little that would not even that I would like to see, but I think it would be more fun if the environment was a little more cluttered even. But then I hadn't considered, LOD being an issue or hosting of asteroids being an issue or those sorts of. It would have to be part of a station structure that.
Maybe just make a cap ship.
But cap ships have LOD issues just like that, though.
But then on the surface of the moon.
Oh, yes. In gravity would be a.
In gravity is also
That was one of my
interesting.
suggestions for the next one. In gravity.
Just at the
Again, though,
moon
some
city.
people do not want to be. If it's in gravity, it's got to be on like the other side, away from the gate, just because
Yes,
of the
like not
gate.
even an Elysium itself, just like I don't know, go to Zalem or something.
I
Oh,
suggested the crater as one of them as well. If we all went into the
Or
crater, like the
Alpha.
Thunderdome.
oh, you could go to Sudi where the whole moon's tiny. You get to fight the entire
Yeah.
planet of Sudi.
You get more variety of ships as well if you have gravity, because you have like hover ships, tanks, little weird
dampeners.
things, or Minosh dampers. Yeah.
That would be
Kai
interesting.
said that he would like to add Titan asteroids to Rover. Would be cool if I
In the
Titans,
middle,
Mike.
that'd be so cool.
Oh my
Yeah.
god, I don't know
That's
what
not a
you
bad
guys.
idea. I like that. Fighting asteroids in Saints. Yeah, fuck it. That sounds great.
I don't know about you guys, but the first time that I went into the middle of the belt and I saw a testing asteroid, it was like a horror movie gone real. Like it's amazing. Like just when you're seeing these tiny asteroids around you, and then just one comes out of the fog, like super massive.
Yep, the first ship I ever bought is still stuck to one of those somewhere. I got a little too close. I didn't have any tools, I didn't have any ore, and I got a little too close to it. So there's,
Somebody got a little too
Generator
curious.
have durability.
but
And a fight on a cool moon with a nice atmosphere, like when it's going up and when it's going down, like when the sun is going up and down. That's also really, really cool, I guess.
How about Alstel below the belt?
Oh, you want to see even more lag issues, do you?
Oh,
Oh.
God, is that the one with the falling asteroids?
Yes.
Yep.
I
live out there. It's great. I highly recommend if you want some PvE action that's actually PvE.
it's
Yeah, the environment.
Serious, the asteroids bite back there.
PvP and E. PvPvE, like player versus environment.
Look
I
there.
think that's a journal.
You move. Yeah, that's things like Tarkov, isn't it? You're going
So
go into arena, shoot some NPCs, and then someone glax you as you're exiting. Sort of thing.
so.
And then
Well-
you call him a hacker.
All right, everybody. That was fantastic. I want to say thank you to everybody that came out. I want to say congratulations to all of you guys for that placed in the tournament, even if it was 6th place. So, you guys, thank you for coming. I appreciate this has been eye-opening and educational. So,
We hope to see you in the next tournament.
oh yeah,
I really loved the commenting this time. It was really something that was missing in the previous fights or in the previous events, and you guys together with the background also was really enjoyable.
well, it was kind of last minute. I just I got a message on Discord asking if I would do it. So, sure, I would. I'd be happy
Be the
to.
guy.
Yeah, I was like,
Like, hey, Kai, get this guy.
I was like, what? Yeah, I was actually at church, and I got a message if I was going to do it. So I was kind of last minute. I would love to see, to have more some sort of details of the teams and the ships beforehand. I know some of it's kind of it's all put together last minute, but having some details about what your ships were they lasers, were they guns, how heavy they were.
You kind of need to ask maybe to go into an co-op edit mode with the ship blueprint, and then like do the camera circle around them with the green mode with the like structural strength mode, and then the mode where you see all the framework and stuff to make really technical content that you can load while talking about a ship.
Yeah, it would be nice to do, just to do it a bit more, have some more information to comment about.
Yeah.
Wow, because there's downtime, and I'd love to talk about the ships, and I don't know anything about the players, for the most part, and so, if we get to do this, if I get the opportunity to do this again, I might try and get a team list ahead of time and reach out to you guys and at least let you tell me whatever it is that you do want me to know, because I understand some of it's proprietary until the last minute kind of thing. So yeah, just until the last minute. Once it's out there, it's out there. But
Yes.
Cat's out the bag, it's out.
yeah, once it's out of the bag, it's out of the bag. But so it was great to do it. I will happily do it again. Yeah, it was fun to talk to you guys. I wasn't sure anybody would show up today, so this is fantastic to have all of you here. It was nice meeting most of you. I've never interacted with most of you, so Anytime you guys want to come on and show me your ships, or you want to explain some tech that you're working on, Doggo's been on, and we've walked through loads of Doggo ships, and he's explained some of the stuff he's working on. I'd love to talk to you, MWire and Ace Crystal, about that holo display and that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
You know,
I'm
and
going to release it to you guys soon. Just
Yeah.
some time to develop.
Yeah.
We'll
I'm
write
just
up
waiting
everything.
for Ace to release it so I can release my version.
yeah, and like I'd like to talk to Vega about his vertical or his horizontal the horizon indicator. Damn it, Christmas horizon indicator. Yeah, his horizon indicator. And I mean, so there's a lot of information out there that Starbase isn't. We're not very good about disseminating amongst each others, and it's a shame that a piece of tech like the holographic display doesn't get used in more ships. Yes, it's owned by you guys, but it'd be nice to see it other places. And so
It's going to be free. Don't worry. Jeez.
yeah. Well, I don't think it should be free. I sell it. I'm all for you guys making money.
To be free. This is
This
amazing.
is so cool, like, come on.
I'm 100% for you guys making every buck that you can in this game. Yeah, just
Well, the issue is I was gonna plan on free either way. You know.
but
Show them how to do it so people can use it.
yeah, and it's
Yeah, that's the thing.
for me it's you explaining how the process works, because I would love to use that stuff, and I'm never gonna sit down and do that. But I love knowing
Well,
how that you did it. And
Well, I can think of some naughty things I'm going to do with the idea that I could.
Yeah.
See.
so and
I saw it and it was like I had to have it.
Yep.
I was gonna not stop at anything to get it.
I'm going to play around with a laser cutter, see what I can do now.
Yep.
Yeah, I've already like. Some people were talking also about like, hey, make a propellant tank smaller than the normal size.
Oh,
The
yeah.
kind of thing I managed to do with
I kind of feel
I
that
tried-
some tech needs to be used responsible. I think like a screen
Oh,
reticle
man.
is kind of like okay, but making batteries and propellant tanks smaller, I would
It's
be
like just a frame.
yeah, it's just
I don't even
there's
think
limits.
this would explode, right? You blow it up already. Oh god.
There's limits.
Oh,
There's
God.
limits. So.
Ew.
But I'd also like to maybe set up time with you guys where we go try to do something. Pegrin and I went to the moon once and screwed around, and I mean, there's lots to be done in this game, and I'd like to, explore some of the stuff that I don't already know how to do, because the game loop is so limited that we need to start making up shit to do. So.
yeah, no one's gonna try
put
and do
bluntly.
that pile of mess probably.
So, but every time I've messed around with other players, I've had a great time. So I'd like to see, more of you guys, and in the future, maybe we can hang out and do something. So I want to say thank you to all of you. Congratulations on the tournament, and I will talk to you guys tomorrow.
All right.
Feels
Bye-bye,
for a
yeah.
point.
Thank you. Thank you again.
Thank you.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much for today's. I know I said I was going to go in the SSC, but that kind of popped up the last minute. And as far as I got in the SSC was to stand in front of the terminal, which, to be honest, is about all I want to do in the SSC is stand in front of the terminal. So I wasn't ignoring you, Damage. I was reading your concepts. It was just there was a good conversation. What do I think about fighting inside your station? I think it would be fun, though I think the LOD loading issues becomes an issue pretty quickly. The drones. You talked about a bunch about your drones. That's all going to come down to whether Kai allows your drones to happen. You're going to have to convince him. I don't know. I think they should let you try it once and see how it goes. But I want to say thank you for everybody watching today. There's a ton of people stopped in to watch. There was a ton of people that was here to talk. I hope that, and I'll invite everybody anytime that I'm streaming, just jump back into the chat. I'd love to have you on, and we can just talk about whatever. And so that's it for today. I want to say thank you to everybody, and we'll be back on tomorrow. I think an unlimited class would be dangerous, dirty human. That would be a dangerous category. That'd be a lag fest. So, all right. Until tomorrow, guys. You have a great night, and I'll see you all tomorrow. Take care.